Si, and this is Si Show. I might have to work on that title. This is the pilot episode of a new thing I want to try doing with a weekly video/audio podcast. I found a new service called Good Diet the other day, and I thought, you know what, let's give this a go. Let's try recording some material for this. And what a great week for it to happen as well. We've had lots of news going on in the tech world, and I've had endless amount of things going on this week, so I'm going to crack straight on with this. In tech, it was the Apple keynote week on Tuesday night. They announced iPhone X, iPhone 8, Apple Watch Series 3, Apple TV, so bothered about. And for me, there's some interesting takeaways. iPhone X, I don't see the hype. I understand where they're coming from. I know that we're in a generation where emojis and 3D cameras and that sort of shit is taking off, and there's definitely a market for it, despite the price brackets they're playing with. People will pay for that stuff regardless. And obviously they're pushing boundaries, you know, literally to the end of their phones, technology-wise with the face recognition stuff, 3D face recognition. I mean, it's mind-blowing what's going on inside those devices now. And, you know, celebrating 10 years, it's a fantastic achievement. For me, actually, it's marked the same. 10 years since I was introduced to Apple technology. It was the same year iPhone was launched. I started working at Yahoo, and they were all about saying every engineer in this world should be on a Mac. You can work for it, you know, you can test on all devices. The technology is designed and built for you guys. It just makes more sense, and I was sold in. It took a couple of months to get transition across, but it made sense. I only got the iPhone a couple of years later, so I didn't drop by into it straight away. But quite frankly, the iPhone X, I'm not bothered. I'll take it or leave it. I'm not that bothered. iPhone 8 again. I like the idea of the extra storage. That's something that I am actually quite personal about. I always run out of storage on my devices. Probably did put too much on there, obviously. But for me, the big game changer was the Apple Watch Series 3. The idea of being disconnected from my phone but still being online is a big thing. Apple Watch wise, I'm sold. I love mine. I've had it nearly 2 years. It's changed the way I work, they changed the way I communicate, and actually be more health conscious. I've been a lot more fitter since, so I can keep an eye on my activity rings. And again, the idea that I can actually go for a run, AirPods in, listen to some music and enjoy, and get everything recorded. That's very tempting bike for me. With a bit of trading, I'll probably get the price down, but I might just pass this on to my wife or my children. Maybe not children. So yeah, I'm very tempted by that stuff. It's fascinating. I'm curious to see what other people think. I think it's divided people. Obviously, there's the haters, there's the cynics, but we know what's going to happen. People are going to buy this stuff regardless. And also, I quite like the tribute to Steve Jobs. The new theatre looked amazing, obviously, and again, it's a little reminder of where all this stuff comes from and the geniuses behind this technology. Maybe not the ones that are there now. You know, I think your man, I've forgotten his name now, obviously the Apple CEO, Tim Cook, he's got some big boots to fill. He's trying, but he's no Steve Jobs, as we know. And it was interesting how we got very little from Johnny Ive in this keynote as well. It was all about, I think it's the chief tech guy who was talking through all the stuff. Anyway, so that was interesting tech news. The other thing I did like about this week was the fact Google quickly responded with their made by Google teaser email. It was titled, "Considering a new phone? Let us know." And I thought that was amazing timing. Obviously, I was tempted a little bit by Pixel when it came out last year, but I'm sold in the Apple ecosystem. I'm not moving out of that at the moment, so I just thought, no, I'm registering purely out of curiosity, and I am a Google Tools user. Device-wise, less so. I'm in the ecosystem with my iPad, my Mac, my phone, my watch. I'm a fanboy. I'm not going to deny that. And I do have my problems with them, but it works. So yeah, I thought it was brilliant timing anyway from Google's part. This week's also been a significant week for me from my career perspective as well. So On the build up to my annual review yesterday, which I'll talk about in a moment, I was speaking at a local meetup, Northampton Geek Night, hosted by the guys at Supply Ants over near Moulton Park. You probably don't know the area, but it's worth putting that in there. Great guys, and they asked me in to talk about something. And the natural thing to talk about for me was my transition from developer to manager in tech. So, hence the name Acting Agile. That has been my job title for the past 9 months. The journey has been interesting, and along the way I've learned quite a lot. Thankfully, we've got a great community of people at work from an Agile perspective who I can learn from. And part of that, I basically did myself a mini retro on the lead up to my review. And I noted down I did a brainstorm of like 25 odd things that I'd learned. And then at that point, I decided to kind of structure that into a little bit of a talk, give it a bit of, grouping things together, elaborate on what I meant by these takeaways. Very sort of powerful statements, but they needed a little bit of context to understand what I was coming across with. And I provided a lot of examples with that. So basically, at the meetup, I went through all this stuff. It was an interesting audience, to be honest. The other speaker of the night, Barbara, I can't remember her surname, she was talking about Bitcoins and her local venture to float on the market with her new way of doing Bitcoins. Fascinating stuff. But I realised that half the audience were probably there for her, and half the audience were there for my content as well. I think people were interested in the way ASOS work, as well as what I've been doing there. ASOS are sort of the number one, one of the top companies to work for in the UK now, according to LinkedIn. So quite a benchmark to hit, and obviously that's got a lot of people interested. But it was a good response. Several people came up to me afterwards and asked further questions and talked to me about it. And that for me was great. There were some people in the crowd that said, "What's Agile?" And these were developers as well. So it made me realise again, we are very lucky that we get Agile in ASOS and the London tech community. And it's not mass market. There are people out there still working in software development who don't do Agile. Agile, waterfall, all those awful phrases and ways of working, quite frankly, are still commonplace. So again, for me, I'm very lucky in the fact that I'm exposed to new ways of working, and I'm getting an opportunity to practice this and get the full support from work to do this as well. So it's been a good time for that. So yeah, on that note, the end of year review. No one likes doing them. They are necessary generally to just understand how far you've come along over the past year, and also what the future holds as well. So my transition from developer to manager has been quite the journey. This time last year was the conversation where they said, "Where do you see yourself in, say, 2-3 years' time?" And I honestly didn't know. I was in this dilemma of thinking, you're raising the bar quite high from a technical perspective. Am I capable of fulfilling that expectation? And is it the best that you can get from me as well? So I took that opportunity to go, I am considering, management sounds like a good option. And so I went along with that. And this year, the first part of the year was very difficult. The team wasn't quite fully functioning. It wasn't a great opportunity for me to try and practice this stuff as well. So from sort of February time, I changed team, changed project, changed focus and context a little bit. And that was a better opportunity to sort of learn and practice all these things. It was difficult, I won't deny that, but I got to a better place, I believe. Build up to the end of year review though, my anxiety was kicking in, thinking, am I up to this? Mental well-being, I was thinking, panic mode. What do we call it? The imposter syndrome that I've talked about in the past as well. I'm way out in the depth. But yesterday I had the review. My manager we went through my objectives, how I sort of kind of fulfilled some of them that weren't quite there, which is fine, but they're in progress, and I've got a clear idea of what I need to do about them as well. And in the great terminology of ASOS, I have nailed it. So it's been quite satisfying to hear that I've got some good feedback, some good reviews from my peers and my team as well. I hate that phrase, my team. It just contradicts itself a little bit. But it also means that I can drop the acting part from my job title. It's still to be sort of set in stone with the business, but it's so rewarding to know that I've managed to achieve that. And my line management see the potential in me. My team are quite happy with how I've been working with them. And there's a clear career path for me now. I've got an idea of what I need to do. I've got sort of plenty of benchmarks to hit along the way. And I think it's something everyone should learn from is, if you are considering your career path, just try things. One of my other mantras at the moment is JFDI, just do it. Don't let that hesitation hold you back, and make sure that you are pushing yourself a little bit and just get on with it. Don't spend too much time considering things and what if. Just do it. And it paid off for me, and that's a great example to say why you should do JFDI. Which reminds me, actually, that's something for another episode, I think, about what I want to do around that. I've registered a few domains around JFDI, and I've got a few ideas in progress, but I need to probably collaborate with someone on this and make sure we just do something with that as well. So, as you can see, today I'm working from home. It comes with its advantages and disadvantages, especially with my role now. If I was a developer, great, head down, coding away. It's great. I've got no distractions apart from this. It's my lunch break I'm taking. I can focus. I've got a machine. I'm online. I can make myself comfortable. I've got drinks. I've got music playing. It's great. Obviously, the flip side of that, I'm not on site. I cannot do my active role of getting things done, as it were. I can't. The team, for some reason, well, there's been a lot of reasons why I'm working from home and the team aren't communicating. There's been all sorts of travel chaos today with fires by the main train lines into London. And I think there's a bomb scare at the tube station as well. Not good. So yeah, the communication thing is a problem. Generally, we're pretty good. We've got Slack and everyone's pretty quick to respond, whether it's phone or computers. But for some reason today there's a lot of quietness. Thankfully, when I checked in, they're all over their stuff. There's plenty of things we need to be getting on with, and I can trust them to get on with that. Another thing I've learned as well is to build that trust. And I only have an iPad with me today, so thankfully it's got a keyboard. It's not that difficult to use, but it comes with some limitations. Not all the tools that I need are available, and it's be an interesting way to get things done this afternoon. We've got a few other meetings to get through as well. So that's that. That's the week. Lots to go through, obviously, and I want to see how this pans out, whether there's an appetite for doing a regular podcast. It might be weekly, it might be monthly. I'll see what happens next week and whether it's worth holding off for 2 weeks instead. Let me know what you think as well. Get in contact. You know me on Twitter as @Sci. LinkedIn, SciJobling, most of the social networks are SciJobling. Get in touch, let me know what you think and what you'd like to hear from as well. What you might want to know a bit more about, my job role, the JFDI stuff, ASOS, the way we work there as well. I will tell you what I can. Obviously, there will be some things we need to be quiet about, but we're very happy to talk about the way we work. And we've got a lot of exciting new initiatives coming up in the next year as well about the way that we work in the web, in tech, in ASOS as a whole, and myself, what I've learned along the way as well. So yeah, give us a shout, leave some comments, and get in touch. Have a great weekend.